So I said to her, that's eventing, baby.
Hi, this is Blythe Tate, and you're listening to Eventing Weekly
Cheers,
with
mates.
Mitch and Braden.
Cheers, mates.
Mitch, Braden, and Muzi Pottinger. Muzi, g'day, mate.
G'day.
I just saw you having a look at your glass. What are you drinking there tonight, Muz?
Ooh, you'll have to tell me, actually, Braden. I know it's a cider. Looks like a beer.
Looks like a beer to me.
No, you're drinking there the Hazy Hog, Muzi, and I would know that because, and it's how I wanted to start this evening, team, is a bit of a porphyry, a bit of a welcome to you both, because tonight you're in my neck of the woods. We're at my local pub, the John O'Gaunt of Hungerford, and it's my absolute pleasure to have you both here, I know you carpooled on the way here. How was the trek into Hungerford?
Yeah, it was scenic, wasn't it? It's a hell of a place to get to, just off the M4. Super local to Muz, not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, very easy to me. I'm straight off A419 M4, so very lucky. I'm very in the middle of all of you.
Yeah, we thought, you were right in the middle, perfect guest. Let's get you down to Hungerford.
Yeah.
And I'm bloody glad to have you both down here.
I'm bloody stoked to be here.
Oh, well, thanks, mate. And shout out to the John O'Gaunt for hosting us here on a Monday evening. I know the team, Shelley, Mark, Sam, Aaron, Jack, Rita in the kitchen. They're all big fans of the show, and they'll be stoked to have this one hosted on their home turf.
They've put the weather on for us too.
Yeah.
Haven't they just?
I mean, it's
a balmy
all of
18 degrees.
Yeah.
The sun is out there somewhere.
8 p.m. on a Monday evening, where would you rather be?
Maybe Italy.
Greece.
Greece.
Corfu.
Europe.
Europe heat wave.
Okay, yeah, point mate.
Yeah.
Point mate,
Yep.
all right. Hey, anyway, fellas, and Muz, do we have a show lined up for everyone this evening, and we're absolutely buzzing to get into it. So, Mitch, if I fire it over to you, mate, do you want to kick us off?
I'm going to kick us off, and I'm just going to get straight to it, the big elephant in the room. Muzi. Where the hell does that name come from?
Oh.
And
Muzi.
are we even pronouncing it right?
How the hell do you pronounce it?
Well, I have had this conversation a lot since I've been in England. Obviously, you two pronouncing it very well. Muzi.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
However, I will admit, I will actually answer to Muzzy, Muzi, whatever, to be completely honest. My grandmother, who was 93 when she passed away, called me Mozzie the whole time.
Really?
So, yeah. I will actually answer to anything, but Muzi is the correct way. And I really want to tell you a good story, but there's just no good story around how it came about.
But I think we want to hear it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm really annoyed because actually Andrew and Janelle Price made up a fantastic version of the story for me at badminton this year, and it was actually something to do with being a hussy, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're listening.
I know. I really wish I could remember it, but no, it really actually just came from mosquito. It was shortened from mosquito. When I was a kid, I grew quite tall, weirdly, and not out. So I was just this lanky, thin little thing for
Gotcha.
a while, and it was mosquito.
A little bit like
got
Braden.
shortened.
Yeah.
Very similar build, actually.
Yeah. Thanks, Mitch.
Do you still answer to Amanda, or like you've officially changed your name to Muzi? I see on the FEI.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So
Yep.
Amanda, no more.
Amanda, no more. My parents don't even call me it. So I sort of got to the point I went, why Amanda? Amanda just sounds far too formal. I mean, you guys know me relatively well.
Yeah, you know Amanda.
It's just doesn't work. So, yeah, I mean, obviously formal documents, but that's about it now. Muzi is the way forward.
If it's derived from mosquito, for me, I grew up calling a mosquito a mozzie.
Muzi.
Yeah.
I'm going to side with Gmar on this one.
I know, this is a fair point.
Yeah.
It is. And do you know what's actually the more complicated thing?
Go on.
How would you actually spell it? So
Yeah.
I will put my hand up and say I have chosen the Muzi
Yes.
because it looks right. But Muzi, it's pretty difficult.
It's got a real ring to it when you say it like
is
that.
it like an MU? Like, is there an H in there? A Muzi?
Muzi.
Muzi?
I mean, MMO is Mozzie.
Correct.
MU technically should be Muzzy.
Yes.
So how do you...
Have we got an M-O-U?
I know.
Is it like a
Well,
moose?
But who wants to write M-O-U-Z-I? And it just looks stupid.
It does look a bit weird.
So I just went, no.
Should we put it out to the fans?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know
I
it's
think
been
so.
something we've talked about this before, and we, and this is where we're at. We still don't really know how to spell it. We know how to say it. It's Muzi. But if you're out there listening and you're going, you know what, I do know how to spell that. Jump in the DMs and we'll feed that straight back through to Muzi Pottinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of extended names off it too. I had Muserato.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I had Muslim.
Yes.
I got a lot of extensions
Sure.
off, even nicknames off Muzi.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Those are my favourite type
been
of
a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that keep on giving. and just to round out that nickname chat, we should say in the Northern Hemisphere, you're pretty widely known as Muzzy.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be fair.
Would
yeah.
that be the main difference right now in your worlds as you go down to the Southern Hemisphere and you're Muzzy and you come up here and you're Muzzy?
Yes, yeah. The Brits, they battle with the language a little bit
Yeah,
in
well,
general.
there's that,
it's-
isn't there?
I mean, you can't fault them for it, really. It's you feel for them. It's a
Hey,
tough.
your words, not
tough
ours.
gig,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, hey, is that question number 2? And listen up, because we have our first fan question of the evening. So,
Yeah, g'day, Eventing Weekly. Big fan of the show here, Taylor Mason. Now, I've got 2 questions for Muzi.
Two.
Both me and Muzi went to uni at Massey University in the beautiful Palmerston North. Muzi lived in a flat on Ada Street called Hotel Ada. I was wondering if she could take us back and share her wildest memory whilst in this flat.
I'm going to pause it there halfway through
Oh,
before we get into the second part. Let's jump in right there. And what do you got for us?
Muzzy at Massey.
yeah, Hotel Ada.
That's good, by the way.
Yeah,
Muzi at
yeah.
Massey.
Muzzy at Massey.
I mean, yeah, Hotel Ada was it was pretty cool. It literally had, I think, 6 or 7 bedrooms. We had all girls. Across the road from what was called the kennel.
Okay, okay.
Kind of says it all a little bit. It was full of boys. Could say dogs, I
Oh,
guess.
okay.
You know,
The name of your spare bedroom, isn't it?
The kennel.
the
Yeah.
kennel.
Yeah, well, I got that because, I was jealous of yours, which is the dog box.
Yeah.
And and I thought, how do I play on that? And I
Yeah.
went the kennel. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny that it comes up.
I know. Yeah. So great household. Wildest. Ooh, that's a little bit. I mean, could be a little bit controversial on this one, but I'm not really too worried about throwing myself under the bus here. I think probably the wildest memory, Massey. Taylor Mason, I'm pretty sure, was involved in this evening.
So not just throwing yourself under the bus.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
bring it with
Like
you.
it.
No, it
Take
very
it with
much.
ya.
Oh, I mean, very much is.
Okay.
21st season, you know, it's almost like wedding season. You get a bit over it.
Yep.
We enjoyed your weddings, just by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we were walking. Somehow the night ended. There was just a bit of a mix-up, we'll say. There was a bit of a mix-up, and the night somehow ended in me in handcuffs in a cell. There was a mix-up, okay?
Okay.
There was a genuine
Okay.
mix-up here.
Okay, all right.
So, we're leaving this 21st, and we're going on to the next bar, and we're walking through what's called the Square.
I know the
and
Square.
It's almost like Times Square in New York. You
Yeah.
know, like it's beautiful.
It's uncanny
It
how
is,
similar
it
they
is.
are.
Yeah, it is. And we, as you do at that age, and we're talking 21, you generally walk around with a drink in your hand, and the police very politely ask us to pour these drinks out. And we did, we poured the drinks out. Unfortunately, I poured mine out into my mouth. And the next thing, we may have ended up somehow then handcuffed in the back of the police car.
Sure.
Yeah, and
That could have happened to anyone.
I know, like it was a genuine mistake. I really thought I was doing the right thing
Yeah.
by pouring
And
out the drink.
Being a tidy Kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 follow-ups for me, if I can jump in. First of all, are we talking Smirnoff Ice, Purple Guarana, maybe, what was your oh, no, Palmerston North.
Goon.
You had a goon sack.
Goon sack.
No
Wine.
bottles down there.
No.
Boxes and
Really?
bags.
Yeah.
Oh, I should just say it would never have been a Smirnoff Ice original. It would have been the green one, wasn't it? Turbo Juice.
Yes.
You heard of Turbo Juice, Mitch?
No.
Almost made your heart
Really?
thump. It was terrible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No.
But-
Big fan of the purple G's over here.
Purple G's.
But just to be very clear here, so there didn't end up in any actual record.
No
come out.
conviction.
No conviction. Thank
yeah.
you. Just to
Sure.
really clarify that. But the police, I suppose they just like to do this as a bit of a scare tactic
Sure.
and have a bit of fun. And I mean, I can say I really did learn my lesson. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since that day. Like 10 years ago. Like I mean,
Amazing.
this is me
On the zeros.
Yeah,
10 years
exactly.
ago. Wowee.
Yeah, showing
Yeah.
you.
Years ago.
My second follow-up for that was just, I know we've got a big UK audience, Muzzy, and I just wanted to let them in that in New Zealand there's these thing called liquor bans. Because
Yes.
my understanding is over here that's not really the case, broadly speaking, that you can't walk around town with an open vessel, really, can you?
Yeah, very valid point. Yeah,
Yeah.
so as I say, it was a bit of a mix-up, I guess, because
Mm.
you in most countries can walk around
Sure,
like that, and
sure.
New Zealand is very strict. I mean, and Times Square,
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful place. So
Yeah. Jacinda's New Zealand, am I right, Mitch?
How good is that?
Yeah.
Jeez, we're going to bring things back on board here,
Sure.
Mozzie and Braden. And so we had...
Sorry, mate. I've just remembered that I
Oh,
cut
we've
off
got a
halfway
second-
through
Yeah.
Taylor's.
We've got a part two.
We're going to jump back
Yeah.
in for part
Yeah.
two
I mean-
Hold on.
of the Taylor Mason.
Hold the boat.
Second question is if she could share with us her first thoughts of Just Kidding when he arrived at Flaxmere that day, and what her initial plans were with this horse, and how he has exceeded all these expectations.
Gosh, I really thought she was going to ask me for another uni story.
No.
Then I was really going to throw her under the bus. Definitely took one for the team there, Taylor. I could have been not so kind.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but she's asking about Ferg.
Yeah, I like that. And I think where I really like that question, Taylor, is it was probably around the same time that Ferg came on the scene.
Really?
I think I cleaned up my act and I stopped the alcohol after that
Cut
day.
the alcohol,
and
got a horse.
Got a horse. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was about that time that Ferg came on the scene at Flaxmere. Yeah, just and-
Sounds to me like you made the wrong decision there.
yeah.
Not anything against Ferg, but it's a long time to be alcohol free,
Yeah. And
especially with horses.
athlete life, Mitch.
Yeah,
There
I
it
Athlete-
don't
is.
doubt it.
Athlete life.
Yeah.
There it is. So tell us about it. Ferg turns up there at Flaxmere, and what are your expectations?
I mean, I honestly thought I had bought a pony. I think everyone thought I had bought a pony. Simon Gordon, who delivered him for me he was coming down from Auckland. He comes off the truck and he's honestly the size of a pony. I hadn't seen him,
How old is Ferg here?
just going 5.
Mm.
I hadn't seen him. He was came from a racing yard, Joe and Darren Weatherly, who are still race trainers, and I had a horse previously from them that was a really nice horse. So I sort of trusted their word on it a little bit and took him on, and he had been sitting in their paddock for 2 years as a pet for their kids.
Wow.
So they thought he was going to be just the kid's pet, because he was a pony. He was the size of a pony. And so, yeah, I genuinely thought I'd bought a pony. He was nice looking, though, and he moved well. And then I suppose
heard he was on the bit when he arrived.
he honestly was. On the bit, like, head between the legs on the
Really?
you could not get him off the bit.
Really?
So hence, I mean, one of his strengths has been his dressage.
Sure.
It honestly was like that from the start. No, he from the start was always a really nice type, nice moving horse for a thoroughbred. But man, did he have a cheeky side. So not sure how the kids would have got on with him.
Sure.
He got the name Just Kidding for this reason.
Gotcha.
So without going into loads of detail, he was a rarer. He stood on his hind legs, he napped, couldn't get him in the start box, couldn't get him in the dressage arena. Taylor's mother actually said to my mother one day that I don't know how you let your daughter ride that horse
Wow.
because he is dangerous.
Well,
Like we fully were at that point. But he would have this switch where then the next minute he would be the kid's pet and then he would be standing on his hind legs and
Then there's the pet.
then he's the pet and hence the name Just Kidding.
Gotcha.
So he definitely had through the grades he was eliminated in dressage tests. Like,
Really?
he was that difficult. Yeah.
Amazing.
There was tests that he had been eliminated in and he just but we all knew, to be fair, I always knew it was a game. Like I fully trusted him because he did it at home, so I was very used to it and I guess I just knew he was worth persevering with if I
Sure.
could get him past that. So,
And persevere you did.
yeah.
Ended up bringing him to the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Had a crack at a couple of big shows, a couple of badmintons in there.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
A wig.
I mean, yeah, a wig.
Yeah, boy.
He's just done Lamulin. I mean, honestly, like, if you had asked me 5 years ago with what he would have done, I would have bet $1,000 against him doing all of those things.
Really?
Like,
Roughly
I think,
500 pounds for the English listener.
Sorry.
Quick conversion, quick maths over
Quick
there.
math.
And, like, I wouldn't have been the only one. Like, bless him,
Sure.
I think Sam said to me the other day, right through the grades, he only ever did what he had to. He only he just kept doing all he had to. And then I only really kept him because I lost a upper level horse that got injured. And so I kept him, even though he probably should have been sold as a young rider horse.
Well,
And, next minute we're doing our first 4-star, and then next minute we're doing our first 3-day, and then, we're going to Adelaide, and, we've gone around Adelaide, and, should we go do that again? And then Jock puts this idea in my head of badminton. I don't know why or how, and I thought he was crazy. And
Sure.
then we did badminton. And then, like you said, we did WEG, and he has surprised every single person, myself included, the whole way through.
Hell of a ride.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you mentioned, we're just going to move on to our next question because that's a lovely little
Segue,
that
isn't it?
Jock's given us there.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jock.
Huge shout out to a big fan of the show. Badminton, we just want to get onto that, Muzi. Why is that such a big target for a young Kiwi girl coming over from New Zealand? Why badminton, not Aston the Walls? But badminton is.
I mean, I
it's
hadn't
the-
heard of
it-
Aston the
it's
Walls
the
when I
goat,
was in
isn't
New
it?
Zealand. Sorry.
I
When
have.
I-
Sorry,
Grow up.
Aston. I'm really sorry. I hadn't heard
Yeah,
of you.
to be fair, you throw a lot of shade over Aston Wolves.
Oh, it's not shade.
Go on.
No, I love Aston the Walls.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of space in my heart. A lot
Yes.
of time for Aston the Walls.
Yes.
Aston the Walls was my first event in England.
Yeah.
It was.
I'd say it's
I'd say it was probably mine as well.
It's actually, I mean, I should almost thank Aston the Walls was my stepping stone to badminton.
well, that's good save.
So-
Good save.
Yeah, you go. Shout out to Aston the Walls. But no,
But-
I think badminton. I mean, badminton to me is like the Wimbledon of tennis. It's the one that for someone who doesn't know horses or doesn't know tennis, they know what Wimbledon is and they know what badminton is. So even if you're not an equestrian elitist or you're part of the sport, a lot of people would have heard of badminton,
Sure.
regardless of whether you know horses. So,
Yeah. Shuttlecocks, rackets, nets,
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
of the
All
above.
of it.
yeah, I know. I mean, it's just
Sweatbands,
such a great sport. Most people have heard of it. But yeah, I think that is probably why badminton
And then-
was always,
For you, having been to badminton twice, actually experiencing it, I was just wondering if you had any insights into being there at badminton. What makes it special there? What are some cool? Is there anything sort of behind the scenes that oh bloody hell, that's cool. That's a badminton moment. Did you have any of those?
Yeah, the stable blocks are pretty amazing because they're they're old, but they're so well kept. You know, they are the original stables, and the grooms can stay in like quarters above the stables,
Really?
like, which is just so cool. Like they
Amazing.
can stay right there. You know, you walk through these archways, and I mean the trot up is in front of Badminton House. Like it's just it's insane. It's just so many old buildings and so many traditions, and I think the fact that it's been like that for so many years, so even people that went to it 30 years ago, there's still so many things that are the same about badminton. The one thing that really caught me, I'm not going to lie, off guard, was after watching it for, 10 years as a kid, you know, from the other side of the world, I was really disorientated. Everything was in a different place. You know,
Yeah, okay.
in your head, you picture an event.
Sure.
And you think, oh, that's the main ring, and, you know, that's where that fence is. I was lost.
Gotcha. Had to learn your way around.
Yeah, I really did. I had to ask people, like, how do I get to the dressage? You know,
Sure.
like it wasn't...
They say you take a shuttle.
Exactly. Yeah, you do.
Hail a cab.
Yeah. No, it is an amazing event. Yeah.
Bloody good. Hey, Muz, the next 3 questions we've got lined up for you sort of are all connected, and we've taken the theme of 3-day eventing, and what we're going to do is we're going to run you through 3 phases, and those are the 3 phases of your life. We're going to start with the first one, and for us, we want to hear about eventing in New Zealand. Do you want to just paint a picture of your experience of eventing in New Zealand, and then we're going to move to the second phase, which is the UK, and then, you know, the third phase.
What's the third phase?
Well, you tell
You'll
us.
see when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. But for phase 1, the dressage day, you know, eventing in New Zealand, do you want to paint a picture of sort of your journey in New Zealand before you moved over to the UK?
Okay. My eventing in New Zealand probably wasn't quite as traditional as maybe a few. I obviously grew up with horses, but I didn't really commit to it until quite a later stage in probably my life, or later, but a little bit older. So I started eventing quite young, but then I ended up what I had was quite good show jumping ponies. So I actually show jumped for 5 years. I didn't actually even event for my whole teenage years. Didn't do eventing. Did a lot of show jumping. Had a lot of fun. And then when I left school, I went to university in Wellington, actually, which, you know, is a massive city. It's our capital city. You couldn't have a horse there. And I was actually pursuing a hockey career. I didn't ride for a whole year, pretty much.
Wow.
I didn't really ride horses. I was living in the middle of a city at uni and was persevering hockey, more so. And it wasn't until I had a relatively good horse sort of come along in the back blocks that I'd ride once a month when I'd go home in my holidays. And I also was really disliking my degree, that I decided to move to Massey, where we had that wonderful experience. And suddenly horses was a little bit more appealing there, because it was you could take your horse to Massey. So I moved to Massey, changed degrees, and suddenly I actually got to quite a crossroads of, do I want to do hockey? Do I want to do horses? It was, at the time, I thought it was the world's hardest decision of what do I want to pursue. And I kind of went, well, I could see my life without hockey, but I really couldn't see it without horses. And I also hated running.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Preach.
I loathe it. It's a real issue when you're a hockey player.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you got to do a little bit of it.
Yeah, and
a
I
little bit.
I
Did you ever
honestly,
consider ice hockey?
that's valid. I mean, things could have been very different if
Yeah.
you'd told me that 10 years ago, Mitch.
If
Yeah,
only I'd known you.
yeah, like it just, I loathe it. I honestly wouldn't have run. I don't think even Tom's seen me run. I just
Wow.
refuse.
Wow.
It's a no deal.
Is the closest you come the trot up?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
nice.
actually would be. Yeah, be about the only thing.
Wow.
Only time. So anyway, decided to pursue horses, and at the time all I could really afford was an off the track thoroughbred. That was, quite standard. There's a lot of them in New Zealand. They are relatively easy to come by at low price. So I just started with a couple of off-the-track thoroughbreds and started producing them through the grades because, dare I say it, I couldn't. All my friends that were in show jumping, they were getting these relatively expensive young horses, and I couldn't afford those. So for me to try and pursue down the show jumping track, it was expensive, and
Sure.
I couldn't do it. So I just started producing thoroughbreds, and they were good at eventing, and so I went down that track. And so I only really committed to horses at probably the age of 21. I would say I really committed to horses and committed to eventing. So I missed the whole young rider
Sure.
era. I didn't do young riders. I didn't do any of that. It wasn't probably until I was 22, 23 that I got picked up in the squad system. And then, I just slowly produced sort of 3 horses through to like 4-star and, went from there really. Just
Shipped them over.
Yeah, and then, eventually, once you are at the point in New Zealand where you've done everything in New Zealand, you've also sort of done everything in Australia,
Yep.
i.e. Adelaide, it's like, well, I've got this horse that's fit and sound and capable of a badminton, so that's where we go.
Bloody good.
Yeah, so...
Before we leave
What-
New Zealand, sorry,
No, you go.
real quick, what's your favourite New Zealand show? Are we talking Puhanui? Talking
I
Hunua?
I loved Kiki.
Kiki.
Yeah,
Kiki.
loved Kiki when it was, it used to be almost like a World Cup. It was amazing. Like if you
was
could get
massive.
round Kiki, you were ready to go somewhere
Burley.
else.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, Kiki is amazing. Just beautiful grounds as well, polo fields. Kiki was good.
Yeah, and a lovely part of the country in the Waikato.
Yeah.
So,
I also, though, I love Horse of the Year.
sure.
Horse of the Year is a cool event. Hawke's Bay is amazing, and it's that whole being able to see all the disciplines, being able to see the top of the game, like all in one place is something else.
Yeah, the Arkin of the Southern Hemisphere.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is.
Sorry,
So
Mitch.
I've heard. Well, I did have phase 2 lined up there, Moz, but you kind of beat me to the punch, explaining why you would leave New Zealand or Australia to head over here to this side of the world. What happens when you're here? How do you stick around? Where do you stick in England? Do you head over to Italy and France and Germany and all the other places? Or in your experience, what has been like the best route for you to get to where you want to be?
Yeah, I think I think the best route is going to be very different for everybody. I think it's very dependent on the horses you have and what those horses suit. I genuinely never thought my horse could go to badminton. So I never pictured him as a badminton horse. I thought he would be more of a Le Moulin Po horse. So then that sort of is going to take you into Europe. But I think it very much is a case by case of what are you aiming to achieve. So for me coming over, it was I want to get as much experience under my belt at as many different events as I can while I've got these horses that are, fit and sound and are capable, and they can be competitive too. For me, the being competitive part is also a massive part of it. And whilst, you come into England and you're a small fish in a big pond compared to when you're in New Zealand, it's still really rewarding to come in and go, oh, actually, I can actually do a 25 dressage over here, or to know that you are still training at the right level in New Zealand is quite rewarding to come over. But I think the path that you choose and the way you go when you get here is very much dependent on the horses that you've got. And
There's a saying, Mitch, who taught me, is horses for courses.
yeah,
And it feels like that's sort of your response there. You pick the route best for the horse you're on.
yeah. I don't think it's worth trying to mold a horse into what you want to achieve. It's got to be
The other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to follow the horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so we've talked a little bit about your time in the UK and some of these big events that you've been to. So maybe we fly on through to question number 6, and we're at phase 3 of the show, show jumping, and returning back to New Zealand. So we were just interested in if that's on the horizon, and if so, what that could look like.
Yeah, so I am returning back to New Zealand. Tom, my partner, and I have just bought some land in New Zealand, which is very, very useful, very exciting for us. And to be completely honest, it's a little bit open what that looks like back in New Zealand. I haven't been eventing there for 3 years now, so I'm not 100% in sync with what that scene looks like. I know the numbers are small because you did have a massive group of us uproot and come over to England all at the same time, so I'm told that the numbers are relatively low in New Zealand, but I do think it's really important for our nation, and I know there's other nations, Australia, that feel very similar to this, it is really important to have riders go back and give back to the sport in some way, and to give those kids in New Zealand the motivation again,
for sure,
and the riders there. I mean, we have some amazing riders over here. We had number 1 and 2 in the world that are so inspiring in what they do, but we do also need those riders, some riders in New Zealand, to actually be able to walk the course with those kids that want to aspire to be coming over here. So
they say it for any, if you want the top of your pyramid to be at its peak, you need the widest base.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're speaking to, is if we want to, sure, there's a huge contingency of New Zealand riders over in the UK at the moment, but if we want that to continue long term, there needs to be someone fostering the base and supporting that base so that base keeps producing that pointy top. So bloody good. Quick question there was around timeline. So you talked about going back to New Zealand, but timelines around that.
Yeah, so again, very much horses for courses.
I'm listening.
Yeah, so it is very horse dependent. The amazing Ferg that we've talked about earlier is obviously aging. He's rising 17 this year. He's currently feeling fit and well, but you don't really know at what point is he going to be too old. It's reality. So I definitely will be back in New Zealand sort of by the end of next year, post sort of Olympics and that whole cycle. But otherwise, we're just pushing forward with the horses we've got. And I would say we'll definitely be back there by sort of mid to late next year. But I don't want to say it could be sooner, but you just never really know what's around the corner in this sport.
Sure.
So.
Oh, bloody, that
Gee,
sounds like...
Tom can't wait for that, can he?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't know how he feels, but it feels like a good place to round that out, Mitch. I think if we go back to the scorecard, it's over with you, mate, for question number 7.
It is indeed.
Flying through them.
And we did mention Tom back over in New Zealand. Huge shout out to Tom.
Have we
Massive fan
given
of the
Tom a
show.
shout out? Because he is a big fan.
He's done a fan question.
Well,
He
It wasn't on camera though, was he? Yeah.
no,
wasn't on camera.
we
but
wouldn't get to see the
real,
the
the
good
man
stuff
behind the voice.
Yeah, the man we know and love.
Yeah,
So shout out, Tom.
the man mainly Muzi knows and loves. We
I know him and I love him.
I don't know him well enough.
Do you
Is
not?
what I'm saying.
Do you
yeah.
love him?
You're missing
I
out.
love him.
Yeah,
I
there
love
he
him.
is.
You're
There he
missing
is.
I love him. And I did see a video actually the other day of Tom on a horse. But Tom, he's not
Yes.
horsey, is he?
No.
No.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, it's funny you should
say that
because
we,
Yeah.
after your top 3 reasons
Yeah.
as to why, not you just because you went for a non-horsey, but why would a horsey lady such as yourself go for a non-horsey man?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've always done the non-horsey.
Never had a horsey boyfriend?
I am going to avoid that question. I genuinely
straight through to the
think
keeper.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
genuinely think it's really, really important to have a life outside of horses.
What do you mean?
You don't know what that is?
Help.
No, I really think it's healthy to have a life outside of horses to then be more motivated when you are in that space. And so for me, having a non-horsey partner makes that 10 times easier. We go out and we go away and socialise with people that don't even know the front or back end of a horse, and it's great because you don't talk about horses.
The
and
best kind of weekends.
we all know how we get sick of talking about horses.
Well, it's punishing sometimes.
Yeah.
But it always happens.
Yeah.
You can go away for a weekend with with anyone who knows nothing about horses, but by the end of that weekend, boy, do they know what a half-halt is.
Yeah.
So second thing, the naivety is almost great.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's so good. I mean, Tom walks around in badminton and thinks it's easy.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
It's
Because,
refreshing for you.
well, I mean, I was slightly annoyed at the end of the course, I'm not going to lie, when he's like, yeah, it looks all good. And I'm like,
You're supposed to say it looks scary and you're
Yeah.
worried about me and
yeah.
all of those things.
You're not saying the first horse show you took Tom to was badminton?
Yes. Best thing ever. Yeah.
Hey, mate, check this out.
Yeah.
What are you up to next weekend?
I also took him to, where do we go? Not Dauncey, somewhere unaffiliated recently, and I said, this is more like eventing in
Gotcha.
New Zealand. You know, I just gave him that little, intro. Well, because, of course, COVID, sort of, there was no eventing in New Zealand initially, so
Sure.
he never actually saw any of that. But, no, I think the naivety is bliss, in a way, I think.
Oh, nice.
Non-horsey, they don't get nervous, and so then it doesn't make you nervous. I mean, I think that would definitely be point 2.
Muzi, if I could just jump in there, and Mitch, because I've just remembered the fan question you threw at Mitch and I when we spoke to Maddie
Oh,
and
Yeah.
Monica. So we hadn't even factored that in. So what I'm going to have to do, if you don't mind,
go for
is
it.
we're going to axe your third part of that.
Yeah, no, easy, fine.
Oh, you're prepped.
Oh,
Go
haven't you?
for it.
she knows.
Go for it.
She knows what's
Okay,
coming.
all
Oliver
right.
Townend. Oliver Townend. Everyone likes a showman. That's
Oh
my answer.
Wow.
Do you guys want to
gonna-
ask the question now? Because that's my answer.
yeah. My question is obviously, Muzi, every night when you walk into your bedroom, who's the poster on the wall?
Yeah, Oliver Townend. Honestly, who would I trade out Tom for? Yeah, Tom's happy with this. Like,
Yes?
Yeah, 100%.
You spoke to him about it?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone likes a showman.
Wow, how good. So if you're playing along at home and you haven't listened to the Maddie and Monica podcast, well, first of all, what I'd say is, get
What
yourself...
a hospital pass that was.
Yeah, and what are you doing here? Get back and listen
Yeah.
to the back catalogue because you missed a hell of a night there at the where were we at the stump.
At the stump down there.
Yeah.
There was just a hospital pass of a question from Muzi, wasn't it?
Well,
just straight in there.
Yeah, it was. It was both to Maddie and Monica, but then to us, if we weren't married to our wives, which eventer would we marry? And so it was quite nice just to turn that on you, but I could see you came well prepared.
I was well prepared. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Hey, where are we at, Mitchell?
We must be up to number 8.
Sure.
Are we? I think that's got a BL in front of it.
That's me, mate. Hey, Muzzy, what was in the water in that Pottinger house? In terms of family members getting around big horse shows.
I mean, I genuinely think it was the fact that we didn't even have a flat paddock to ride in.
Yeah.
So
Do you want
A flat what?
a paddock?
Field.
Paddock, a paddock,
field.
brother. A paddock.
field.
My
I know
bro,
what you
a
mean.
paddock.
I got told off for calling it a field in front of Tom's mum this morning.
As
Yeah,
you bloody well should.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'll say paddock. Yes.
Do you want to just frame it up that I'm referring to Tinks?
Yeah. So Mother Tinks went round badminton and Burley a couple of times in her career. Genuinely, we didn't have a flat paddock. Arenas didn't. Well, they did exist, just not in our world.
Yeah, gotcha.
So our jump paddock, I remember it so fondly. The kid, it was up and down in a rolly paddock. There was a ditch in the middle of our jump paddock. It was great.
So you never had ditchy horses?
No, I loved it. And, on our hacking, it would be like, who can jump the most ditches?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was sort of, it made sense. Ferg, bless him, he grew up on my parents' sheep station. Like when we had him as a 5-year-old, he herded cattle.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
5,
nice.
6-year-old, that was what he did. Yeah.
Desensitizing.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody good. So nothing in the water, but there was something in the field.
Definitely something in the field. Yeah.
Or paddock.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
is that where the nicknames came from as well?
Yeah,
know?
that is, yeah.
Muzi, Tinks?
Tiny as well. I had grandma was tiny.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was Tiny connected to eventing as well?
Yeah. yes to eventing eventually, more dressage.
Ah, was she?
Yeah, so she was the first woman to represent New Zealand in dressage.
Bloody hell. This is what I mean. What the hell
Yeah.
was in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on down there?
Phenomenal lady. She was, in later years, was then the patron of equestrian sport New Zealand. But yeah, I don't understand the nickname thing. This wasn't planned, but she was tiny and her real name was Helen. Mum was Tinks and her real name was, she's going to kill me for saying this, Judith.
Yeah, shout out Judith. Judith, big fan.
Yeah, and then I got Muzi. That is bizarre.
That is cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
like that.
yeah, wasn't
And I'm
planned.
just looking, Muzzy, at the shoes that you're wearing there, the Birks that fit in well with the rest of the outfits on here. But I'm noticing those are small feet that have got some pretty big shoes to fill.
I mean, nah, I can
Nah?
take the pressure, Mitch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And bloody good. Hey, speaking of people who can take pressure, I've got another fan question for you. And if you just listen up, we're going to let it roll.
Yeah, g'day mates. Long time listener, first time caller into the show. My question's for you, Amanda.
Amanda.
As a fellow full-time golfer / part-time event rider, how do you feel we could grow female participation on the eventing golf tour? Cheers.
It's all
Great
about the
question.
uniform.
Is
Yeah?
it?
Yeah, 100%. Like the dress code for women is just ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you break it down?
I mean, you just shouldn't have to wear a skirt or I don't even know what else, like a shorts knee length. Like,
Are they?
Sorry, but no woman really, apart from golfers, own knee length shorts. 100%, you've got to change the dress code. You've got to modernise it. You've got to modernise it.
So,
Sure.
So in your world, what does a female golfer go around in?
Like sport shorts is
listening.
fine. Yep, sport shorts. I don't mind like a skirt, but I mean to find a skirt that is half sporty, half not is like an event is not going to own it. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. They're just not going to own it.
No.
So, tights have got to be okay because
Okay.
we all
Yep.
love our active wear.
Active wear.
Yeah, tights have got to be okay. And I think you need to start where you have a girls' golf day because I'm sorry, but you guys, you just take a little bit of the mickey out of girls playing golf. So
How do you mean?
you need to
Well-
get them to the point that they're good golfers so that then they don't feel like idiots playing with the boys.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to just...
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one on the chin.
well, yep. I think we can
Thank you.
take that on board.
Yeah, so sorry, JC, but I mean, I think you need to be just in general a little bit more supportive of the girls, push them out there to play with other girls so it's a bit more fair game to start with. I mean,
Okay.
I know equestrian is, yes, it's equal, male,
and women,
female,
sure.
but we need to change that in golf.
Okay. Well, just add a bit of context there. Shout out to Jesse Campbell.
Second tallest eventer.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah, big fan. Thanks for sending that one through.
Also, very good golfer.
Yeah, well, we should credit where credit's due. Recently, the Eventers Golfing Challenge held down in Basingstoke, and it's an annual event.
Going to claim this, isn't he?
And hold on, and
Waybrook Golf Park golf course this year.
it
wasn't
was, and
Hell of a spot.
shout out to Jesse Campbell. His team took it out this year.
Also, thanks to Jesse for organising, being a part of the organising committee there.
Yeah, making sure everything sort of ran sort of to schedule. And so his team came first, and I will just have to do a little bit of housekeeping, and for everyone playing along at home, is that we were able to enter a team this year. It was, the
Eventing Weekly's first ever.
Yes, the three of us and Jack Hobbs and McVeigh. And so, we put a bit of a crew together. And of the 30 participants, our team of 4 ball, we got second on the day, I believe, shooting 8 under par, which was amazing from us.
Yeah.
But
I see Jesse's point because there was, 2 females playing?
yeah.
Of the whole, how many were there?
How many
30?
teams were there?
Too many. There was a
So
lot.
many.
30 odd people, I think.
There would have been more than that, surely.
Was there?
I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
all-
not enough girls.
All that I do remember was the
Two
longest.
extra competitions on that, weren't there?
Yeah, there was.
Mm.
There was 2 extra comps. It was closest to the pin, and there was longest drive.
And I just want to have a huge shout out here to Dan Jocelyn, who
Yeah.
took out closest to the pin.
Did he?
And I think
Yeah.
that's all we need to do on that.
No. I think everyone can sort of guess where this is heading. And if you were wondering who took out the longest drive for the day, and it was Big Daddy. It was your boy. You know, I'm not known for my long drive, but on the day I just turned up.
Oh,
and
you were feeling it.
I was feeling it so good, and it was all the sweeter because Chris Burton, he is known for his golfing. I think he plays off single digits. He's a good golfer. He's the official coach of Tim Price, who's also a good golfer. And headshot sort of 275, 280, and then I
Well,
stepped up.
He was the group ahead of us, wasn't he?
Exactly. So he was watching as my ball trickled past his one to take out that longest drive.
Just back to Jessie really
Yes.
quickly. I'm sure Georgie, big fan of the show, Campbell,
Yeah.
Jessie, she can come and play with me. Just saying.
Sorry?
Golf.
I'm in golf. I am inviting Georgie to come play, Jessie. So if you want her to message me, and I'll we can go to the driving range, and then I'll get her into it, and then you'll be able to go play with her.
I can't wait for the next year's Aventers golfing challenge. Muz,
Date of you two.
next question is, I think we're up to question 10, which is the last question of the night, Mitch, and it's got your name written all over it.
It sure does. Earlier on in the week when we were preparing our questions, doing a bit of research on you there, Musi, your badminton bio states your interests are fishing. We've got a long list of them here, sorry. Fishing, golf, relevant.
That was good.
Dogs.
Yeah.
It didn't say small
Small
dogs,
dogs,
but
it
I'll
should
add
have.
in small dogs
Yeah.
for you there. And beach walks. Are you the perfect man?
What, beach walks makes you the perfect man?
Not just beach walks, a combination of the 4.
I'll tell you what,
You know,
Do you think
fish-
that should be on, looks like it's on a dating profile?
100%.
Hobbies?
100%.
Yeah,
if
And I was hook,
I-
line, and sinker,
yeah.
man. You've
I-
you've got 5 out of my top 5.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
my
going
favourite
to
things.
take a stab in the dark here and say that's on 90% of guys' Tinders.
Yes. Yeah, if we're coming across you on Tinder, are we seeing you with a fishing picture? You in your car?
No, there is.
Is
There is. Yes.
No,
Are you on
You're
Tinder?
not on Tinder. You're not on Tinder.
Do you guys remember a few years ago? I'll throw myself under the bus. Remember, you saw my Hinge profile. And
What were you looking
there
on Hinge
was-
for?
I was
Brandon?
borrowing your phone. I was on
there
Mitch's
was
phone.
a photo of me fishing.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure you said to put that as the first one. Both of you.
100%.
Both of you.
Because you're the perfect man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that was just the hook, line, and sinker
And
photo.
you know what?
And what a catch Tom has pulled in.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, lucky him.
lucky him. Oh, bloody good. Jeez, I think we should start to wrap things up, just by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there.
Question number 10 done and dusted. Muz, the way we like
Was the perfect man.
Yeah.
That's,
the way we like to finish things here at Eventing Weekly is we take fan advice. And we like to put that to our guest, which is you this week, Muzi. And the advice this week comes from Mary Ruff from Great Britain. And the advice reads, fabulous new addition to my eventing podcast addiction. Sorry, it comes through through the forum of a podcast review. And Mary says, great work, lads. Loving the new angle with the questions, and more eventing content is always appreciated. My life advice would be to always manage yours and everyone else's expectations. Choose your friends wisely and never stop asking questions. That's a lot of advice.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask you, Ms, what do you reckon?
I mean, I think that's all very good advice, all very relevant. I think my advice, the thing I could recommend anyone in eventing and equestrian in general is resilience is key.
Okay.
You know, it's a sport of highs and lows. There's definitely more lows.
Yes.
So resilience is key.
Is it?
Keep looking forward. Don't look back. Yeah.
similar advice to fellow Kiwi Nick Brooks. I believe. What was that? And island of happiness and an ocean of despair.
That was it.
Mm.
That was it. But if I can relate to yours, Ms. I find a lot of solace in everything will be okay in the end. If it's not
Yeah.
okay, it's not the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's deep,
It's quote
but I like it.
quote corner over here at
Yeah.
Eventing
Oh, yeah.
Weekly. And I think, guys, that's a bloody good place to end things. So if there's nothing else, Muzi Pottinger, thanks, mate.
Thanks, Muzi.
Hi, this is Blythe Tate, and you're listening to Eventing
Gone.
Weekly with
Cheers,
Mitch
mate.
and Braden.
Oh, quick, hands up and
Oh,
Like what?
yeah, go on.
crisp. It's all in the elbow.